Hello, seventh grade. We are going to move on to chapter 24, which is Sin and Mankind. We're going to do a brief overview today. So let's get started. Sin and mankind. All right. Let's talk about St. Paul. What did St. Paul, in his letter to the Romans, say about his fallen human nature? All right, I'm going to show you guys. We are here in Romans chapter 7, verses 15 through 19. He says, I do not understand my own actions, for I do not do what I want, but I do the very thing I hate. Now, if I do what I do not want, I agree that the law is good. So then it is no longer I that do it, but sin which dwells within me. For I know that nothing good dwells within me, that is, in my flesh. I can will what is right, but I cannot do it. For I do not do the good I want, but the evil I do not want is what I do. That's one of the sentences I want you guys to kind of focus on. I want you to hear that. For I do not do the good I want, but the evil I do not want is what I do. Now, if I do what I do not want, it is no longer I that do it, but sin which dwells within me. All right, so what is St. Paul saying about his fallen nature? He's saying, I do not do what I want, but I do the very thing that I hate. He's saying that our body and our soul are weakened by sin. We choose sin when we don't want to choose sin, right? This is because of original sin. It has weakened us and inclines us to choose our own desires, what we want, over what we know is good, what God wants. Okay, so that's number one. What does St. Paul say in his letter to the Romans about his fallen human nature? That he does what he does not want to do, right? That he has this inclination towards sin. That's number two. What is this inclination towards sin called? It is called concupiscence. Okay, concupiscence. This is the result of original sin. We do not do the things we want to do. We know that are good, but we have this tendency towards sin. Okay, it's number two. Move on. Temptation. What is temptation? Is it a sin to be tempted? What do you think? Do you think it's sinful to be tempted? All right, let's move on here. This is number three. Temptation is the enticement to sin. And no, it is not sin itself. Remember, Jesus himself was tempted in the desert. But that is not a sin itself to be tempted. All right. So what tempts us to sin? There are three primary ways that we are tempted to sin. This is number four. Remember, we pray in the Our Father, lead us not into temptation. What are these three things? This is number four. The world, the flesh, and the devil. All right, so let's talk about the world, the flesh, and the devil. The world. How does the world tempt us to sin? Well, maybe we have a friend that leads us into sin, or I don't know what I meant there, or your home, or I don't know. Disregard that sentence, or your home. Or your phone. That's what it was. Or your phone. Maybe your phone tempts you to sin. Maybe there's things on your phone that tempt you to sin, or your tablet. The world refers to people or created things that lure us away from Jesus. So this is the first way that we are led into temptation, the world. So we're going to go through the world, the flesh, and the devil. Let's talk about the flesh. The flesh is our own inner urges. These are our passions and desires. Our desire to sleep too much, to eat too much. These are our laziness, right? Our sensual sins. This is the way that the flesh tempts us to sin. This is our own fallen human nature because of original sin. All right. Lead us not into temptation. The world, the flesh, and the devil. Of course, the devil tempts us to sin, right? The devil makes sin look enticing or exciting or fun, right? He tries to influence our thoughts and our imagination. So, number five, what does 1 Peter 5:8-9 say about the devil? Be sober, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. Okay, make no mistake about it that the devil is, in fact, tempting you to sin. He's getting into your thoughts. He's getting into your imagination. The devil wants you to sin. Now, I'm recording this on Sunday because you are watching this on Monday. And in today's, in today's gospel, on Sunday's gospel, Jesus talks about the devil. He doesn't say the devil, he says a thief. He says in John's gospel, this is John 10, a thief comes only to steal and slaughter and destroy. That's what the devil's doing. He's coming to steal and slaughter and destroy. Jesus said, I came so that you may have life and have it more abundantly. We're going to talk about that aspect in the next chapter. So let's keep going. So talking about temptation, the world, the flesh, and the devil. Let's move on to what's an occasion of sin? What does it mean to say an occasion of sin? An occasion of sin, this is number 6 on your handout, is any person, circumstance, or thing that puts us in danger of sinning. Now, these are going to be different for all people, okay? These are going to be different for all of us. Maybe you have a friend or a person in your life who doesn't believe in God, or who tempts you to steal or shoplift, or encourages you to sin in a different way. Or maybe there's a place that you go that's a temptation of sin. That's an occasion of sin for you, a near occasion of sin, right? That there's something at one of your friends' houses that whenever you go there, you fall into this sin, right? The same sin each time. Maybe it's your phone. Maybe it's the internet. Maybe it's your tablet. Maybe it's your computer. Maybe it's whatever. Something that these are person, places, or things that are near occasions of sin for us. All right. They put us in danger of sinning. Now remember, when we pray the act of contrition, at the end we say that we're promising to avoid the near occasion of sin. So if there's a person or a circumstance or a place or something that is causing you to sin, remember what Jesus said in Matthew's gospel. He says, and if your hand or your foot causes you to sin, cut it off and throw it from you. It is better for you to enter life, meaning heaven, maimed or lame than with 2 hands or 2 feet to be thrown into the eternal fire, hell. Right? Now he's not saying cut off your hands or your foot. He's saying get rid of it. Better to get into heaven without your tablet or your cell phone than to go to hell with them. Okay? All right, so let's move on. That's number 6, was an occasion of sin. Number 7, what are the 4 ways that we sin? Thoughts, words, actions, and omission. All right, that's number 7. We say A, B, C, D on your handout there. Thoughts, we can sin in our thoughts. We can have impure, uncharitable thoughts. Words, we can say things that are sinful. Actions, we know we can sin in our actions, of course. And omission, remember we say in the Confiteor, what I have done and what I have failed to do. So omission is things that we have failed to do. Maybe we're just sitting around watching our mom do the dishes, right? Or things that we see that we can do or should do. Maybe we see somebody who needs help and we don't do it. All right. You could think of any of these sins. Let me just say these could either be in venial sin or mortal sin. You can sin venially in your thought. You can sin mortally in your thought with all of these. Okay. So in omission, you could see someone drowning and walk away. Now, hopefully none of us would be crazy and cruel enough to do that, but that of course would be a mortal sin. All right. So let's move on to our conscience, number 8. All right. What is a conscience? Conscience, the definition of conscience, is the act of our intellect by which we judge right from wrong in human actions. The act of our intellect by which we judge right or wrong in human actions. We've all heard he has a guilty conscience, right? We have a guilty conscience. It's something telling us that something is wrong. It's an inner voice that's saying, something is not right here, or something is right here, okay? That's what our conscience is. Now, number 9, must we always follow our conscience? Do we always need to follow our conscience? The answer to that is yes. However, we must work to properly form them. Okay, so we must properly form our consciences. Number 10, how do we properly form our consciences? Well, we form them through our parents, through the 10 Commandments, through virtues, through the corporal and spiritual works of mercy, through church teaching, through school, through teachers, priests, properly form them, right? So that we can more easily recognize right from wrong. And then our conscience is going to be sharper and say, oh, you know what? I shouldn't say that to her because that's not charitable, or something along those matters. So that's what our conscience does. All right, we must always act in accordance with our conscience. Okay, I want you to add number 11. Okay, we're coming to the end here, but I want you to add number 11 on. This is your homework. And I want you to write one question about something in this chapter. Something that either I just talked about, or if you can't think of anything, you can go ahead and read the chapter 24, Sin and Mankind. And I want you to ask a question. It can be about temptation. It can be about our conscience. It could be about sinning, the occasion of sin, the devil, anything like that. And that's your homework, number 11. Write a question about it, and I will answer the questions for you later on this week. Probably Wednesday. Oh, or maybe I'll do it in our live class on Thursday. Okay, but everybody, that is your homework. Number 11 is a question about the chapter on any of these topics. All right, I hope you guys are well. Miss you guys. God bless. Bye-bye.